Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSports. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. And what a weekend of sports it was, Andy. Tons of stuff going on. We had the Army-Navy game, World Cup, of course, NBA, NHL, college basketball, that NFL thing everyone likes so much. What were you watching all weekend?
A lot of that, and then, catching up on Yellowstone. My wife enjoys that show, and I watch it with her. It's okay. Not a huge Yellowstone guy. The early seasons were better. Otherwise, cleaning up, man, it was one of those. Hey, it's 1 to 3 inches of snow coming. Hopefully, just the one. And then later that day, as you trudge through 7 to 8 inches of snow, you curse the weatherman. So I had a lot of snow to clean up this weekend, and yeah, getting ready for Christmas, man. Christmases are starting. Aren't you? Once you have like a married family, what's that? Is that how you say it? I'm still on cold medicine,
Just a
buddy.
family with
But
children, I assume
once
is what
you're
you're saying.
married, then you have. And my parents are divorced, so then it's like I gotta have like 3 Christmases with like in-laws and stuff yet. So like I have in-laws visiting next weekend. I'm planning a menu. I gotta go get lamb chops figured out. So it's the busiest time of year, but we are blessed with all these sports. Like you said, Army Navy should have gone under probably. Overtime is always the fly in the ointment. If nothing else, silver lining, maybe it keeps the total at a decent spot for next year so you underbetters can go back to the well. If you've
Under
been betting
tees
the
are
under,
covered.
yeah, if you've been betting the under for a decade, you're still up. So no worries there. Football was fun. We'll get into some of that. The game last night was weird. Honestly, I leave that game thinking like, is Mike Williams the best wide receiver in the league? Like, and he's just never healthy. He's so good. He's just making all these catches. His body control, the one where he fought back to around the cornerback to get that ball. It's like, man, this guy is just the best. And we never get to see him. We never get to see him with Keenan Allen out on the field helping take some pressure off. That fumble was hilarious. Like, of all the spots for that fumble to land in Tyreek Hill's hands are the worst.
It's a very
That's one of
Tyreek
those
Hill
where
moment, I felt
if
like.
that were yeah, if that were a movie, that's like the record scratch pause stop where like the whole defense is like scrambling and then they look up and Tyreek has the ball and then the music plays and he runs really fast. But no, that was fun. The Lions getting there and the team total was awesome. That was kind of my strongest position for the week. I had some nice winners. I had the Niners. I like an easy
Easy.
one. I like an easy one like that. But you
Pretty
just saw
easy.
the peak of Brock Purdy's career. I think he'll ever play that well again. That was just an elite. Even when he made a mistake, it's like, we're gonna call a bullshit holding, and that's not actually an interception. So sorry to underbetters there because Brock Purdy was electric. I don't know what was cracking for you in the world of NBA this weekend or NFL, honestly.
Actually, I did. I watched a lot of football yesterday. Basketball was pretty good. The Sixers continue to kind of be just weird, but
Yeah.
winning some bets, had some good positions yesterday that didn't come through. But Sunday is always a messy day. I need to keep going back and seeing. I've always wondered if just everyone is an NFL fan, like are basketball players watching NFL on Sunday? I don't know. There seems to be weird results. It's probably
Drew
just
has always
anecdotal.
been that way too. He's always been sketched out by Sunday basketball, even when the NFL's over. He says Sunday's a fuckery day. But yeah, and Embiid, obviously I shouldn't put him in the same conversation as Mike Williams because he legitimately is an MVP candidate for the last 3 years. But that's the same thing too. It's like, am I watching the best player of all time? Like every other week he has one of those games where like, am I am I watching God play basketball? And then, then all of a sudden he's on the IR again.
There's something to be said for someone who, he's listed at 7 feet 280. I like to watch whenever he plays against guys and just kind of compare how tall he is. He has to be 7 foot two. He is an
Yeah.
inch or two taller than everyone who is 7 feet in the NBA. He is 300 pounds and he moves delicately and lightly. And now it's a little slow, but like to see something that large move so gracefully is just, you don't feel like you're the same species.
No, that's kind of what when I went to the game last year and I saw the Sixers come up to the Target Center. I couldn't take my eyes off him. he was just backing people down with his body control was amazing, and he obviously they face fucked our Timberwolves. It was horrible. It was Harden's first game back, but we digress. We'll get into some NBA here in a bit, but we do have one more NFL game this weekend, and it's not that exciting. Like the Patriots, if they lose, are in the cellar now. They
It's a
really
Thursday
were
night feel.
yeah, it has a early season Thursday night feel. I guess the Cardinals aren't out of anything, but these are a couple teams. This is maybe a loser go home kind of game. The Patriots would be in a bad spot considering who all won, and the Cardinals need this to have any sort of relevance into the wild card. Which honestly, it's weird how like nobody's dead. Maybe the Cardinals are truly dead. I feel like
And even if
just
they're not out, has
yeah.
this team shown you anything to make you believe that in any way, shape, or form they could do anything good,
Like, yeah,
even if they do make
they
the
would be one of
postseason?
those. Yeah, they'd have to run the table kind of thing, which I guess it starts tonight, and not a strong position. It wasn't something we got to on the deep dive because we don't usually go through Monday Night Football. We will be broadcasting a little later today. Time yet to be. Drew's just messaged me back. We're gonna figure out what time he's back from the Bahamas, but we didn't get to this game. But I am gonna bet a little bit on the Cards money line. This is just probably a flipped favorite here. I don't know if people are going to be using it's not the biggest sample, but it's getting big enough where maybe there's some signal. But the Cardinals are a much better road team somehow. They don't play all that well at home. It's kind of a weird thing. I don't know if people are actually making well informed, large bets on that sort of thing, but I cannot fathom how the Patriots can be a road favorite over a mobile quarterback right now. Like I was somebody who was kind of out on Arizona. I thought Kyler were going to be missing for a couple weeks, maybe sit out until the bye, and I thought maybe even shut the season down with some of the injuries. But and he's looked good, and they work out of structure so well. They can absolutely break down these coverages. They have probably too many weapons for the Patriots to completely shut this offense down. And the Patriots' offensive play calling is a mess right now. Like the quarterback screaming at coaches, they're not getting anything done. I think they'll be able to run the ball a little. Stevenson should be all right, but the Cardinals are a pretty decent 4-8 team, and they shouldn't be getting points at home against essentially a team that I have pretty much on the level with them. So I'm yeah, I'm kind of out on this. Like, and as Leg Show says, they have been able to get to the quarterback, but they just do not do well against these mobile quarterbacks. It's remember the beating in Chicago. My God. So I'm gonna take a small bet on Cardinals money line plus 110 here. And more importantly, I'm gonna hope that Greg Dortch is your first touchdown scorer. I always cheer for one over the others.
I like that he's kind of a good build in there. Quarterbacks, great way to go against the Patriots, especially mobile quarterbacks. So with no surprise, top of the list here, 16-1. This is a rogue 16-1. I believe this is sitting at FanDuel. There's some 12s out there. Wouldn't mind a 12, but make sure, go ahead, open up a FanDuel account, use the BetSperts code, get yourself some Kyler Murray 16-1. Hasn't been the best season for him rushing wise, but like you said, this Patriots team has always struggled against mobile quarterbacks. And I just really like this number. Again, anything 12-1 or better, I always have him closer to 10, even single digits. Again, not the best season for him, but anything 12-1 or better, find that 16. Hunter Henry, also 16-1. Should be a great night for tight ends. If you're in daily fantasy, get some tight ends into those lineups. Two of the three worst teams in the league in terms of giving up receptions, yardage, and touchdowns to tight ends are your Arizona Cardinals and New England Patriots tonight. So we're going to play pretty much all the tight ends that we've got that will be on the field and catching the ball. Hunter Henry has been the lead tight end target here for the Patriots. Happy to play him at 15-1 or better. There's a 16 out there. Greg Dortch, as you mentioned, no Rondale Moore. So Dortch moves into that kind of utility player role that the Cardinals have, where he should get a couple runs tonight, should have a couple pass catches tonight. Was really dynamic early in the season, and that role did very well. Scored a handful of touchdowns and generally gets a lot of targets. And the Patriots defense, again, good on kind of your top two wide receivers, good against running backs, but those kind of gadget players, tight ends, and then these mobile quarterbacks is generally where you can do well. So George steps into his role from earlier this season. Really like him at 20-1 or better. Mentioned the tight ends against the Cardinals. Again, the Cardinals give up the most touchdowns to tight ends. Jonnu Smith stays pretty close to Hunter Henry. Henry is now the leader in targets over the last couple of weeks, but Smith still on the field. The Patriots run a lot of 2 tight end packages, still gets about 3, 4, 5 targets a game this last 4 or 5 weeks, and still gets a lot of attention in the red zone. So happy to play him at 20-1, honestly, or better. There's a 25 out there. Trey McBride has not been the most fantastic pass catcher since coming in for Zach Ertz. Ertz out for the season. McBride is now the tight end there in Arizona. But again, the Patriots, that's where they're vulnerable, and I think he's going to have some chances over the middle tonight. Would play him at anything 30-1 or higher. And Mac Jones, he's got a touchdown already this year. Just kind of a system play. Have to play him at basically anything 40-1 or higher, and there's a 50 out there. So some quarterbacks, some tight ends, and Greg Dortch.
And Greg Dortch. I'm loving some Greg Dortch. All right, no World Cup today, which is, oh man. And
Tomorrow.
Kevin Hilmers in the chat says Kyler rush yards is around 40, worth a bet probably. That does feel a titch low. I'm gonna have to go look at his split, see how he's been doing of late. But man, like I said, they do seem to struggle against some of these mobile quarterbacks, just on and on. And we don't have to go very far to go find Drew and I wondering what's going to happen with this Patricia Judge thing. There's been some good games, but there's been some bad games. Very inconsistent. If they're not up against a team that they can absolutely, scheme a great offense against, it goes south in a hurry. Like that last game with the Patriots, my goodness, that was horrible. So looking for more of the same. And then I do have one college hoops bet tonight. And Dan was super excited to see it's one that he can't even bet. So we do have a Connecticut.
What a stupid law.
It is the worst. Like the even like the Army Navy game, the New York residents couldn't bet that because West Point's in New York. So like one of the greatest standalone college football games, even when the teams aren't good. It's such a fun game with the pomp and the circumstance. And New York, one of the most populous states in the country, could not even bet it. So boo, boo, boo.
Regulators.
To politicians. Are we the first persons to speak out against politicians? Are we taking a brave stance here? Almost certainly. So boo to you lawmakers. But Fairfield, the Stags plus 5.5. Not a ton to say here. Yale probably a little shorthanded, coming off a tough stretch. They played much, much, much better teams than the Fairfield Stags. Obviously, Kentucky is better than a MAAC team, but the Stags have been very good as a dog. It's not a very good offense. Yale's, I think the number is a little bigger here because Yale's defense has been good. I think that's kind of the thought process around this is Yale's efficient defense shuts down Fairfield, but it's still a home game for Fairfield. It's still a nice spot where they've had 5 days rest and they're getting 5.5. I make this like 3.5. So I'm going to take a little bit on the Fairfield Stags tonight in the battle. Yale's in Connecticut, right? Almost certainly.
I don't know where those nerds go to school.
Yale has it's funny too. I can't tell you what city they're in, but I know their gym because it's like this trillion-year-old building. There's like a swimming pool above the pool or above the basketball court. It's like this 6-story building. It's called the Cathedral of Sweat. Coolest. New Haven. Yeah, there we go. Cool. One of the coolest old gymnasium buildings, at least. Obviously, I'm quite partial to the barn in Minneapolis, but are they playing at the Palestra tonight? Is that something that's happening?
No one should ever play at the Palestra.
No, that is a shitty old building.
I think that is still like the oldest venue or one of the oldest venues, and not that things shouldn't be updated, but they should at least be renovated from time to time and kept up. And I love that. There's something about the pool being above the basketball court that really gets me.
It makes me nervous, honestly. I would be scared to play there, but
based on stuff you've seen in movies, it's just coming through the ceiling one day, right?
Yeah, I would think so. The building's a million years old. I don't know. You feel like they have some smart people there to take care of that. But yes, the professionals are giving it their all tonight. You have a few looks, including your straight up underdog bet tonight.
Let's do it. An underdog, and we're going to lay some points with a favorite. Some of these numbers have moved a little bit, but we'll start here with the Nets Wizards under 227. Was able to get this at 228, even a little 229 earlier this morning, but still like anything 227 or higher. I know it's tough to bet Nets unders, but their pace has really slowed down. It's kind of surprising, even with Kyrie Irving back. There seems to be more of a focus on trying to get control of the game. I guess it's maybe more of an acknowledgement of their lack of defensive talents in transition and things like that. But the pace has been slow. They've been really deliberate, especially in wins. I do like this spot. They should put away the Wizards here. Opened as 5-point favorites. They're out to 6 right now. Just at this total closer to 223, 222 and a half myself. The Wizards have just been a great under team without Bradley Beal this year. Again, the game plan for them really is to slow it down, get it to Porzingis, and the Nets should be fine. I don't see anybody trying to push the pace here tonight. We'll take under 227 or higher in that game. Pacers outright. Like the spot for the Pacers. They are at home against the Miami Heat. I had the Pacers as short favorites in this matchup. Not entirely sure why a Heat team that will have Jimmy Butler, will have Tyler Hero, will have Bam Adebayo, but not really much else. They've been running kind of these almost not 8-man, kind of 8.5-man lineups, play Duncan Robinson for 6 minutes until for some reason Spoelstra gets bored of him and they pull him out. Otherwise, they're just running these poor guys into the ground. They're really struggling to put together anything night to night because not only are they playing a lot, it just doesn't seem like Kyle Lowry's 100%. Jimmy Butler hasn't looked great in his last couple games here. So going to continue to fade Miami, who, again, a 3-point favorite here on the road. Not really sure what's going on there. Happy to take the Pacers again. I had them minus 110 in this spot. So plus money on anything looks pretty good to me. It's a 130 out there right now. Cavaliers minus 6. This is gone. It was dropped back to 6.5 for a little bit. I'm looking at 7.5 right now. Cleveland is in San Antonio tonight. The Spurs have just been awful the last couple weeks. They were able to sneak out a couple wins, did win their last 2 games in kind of surprising fashion. I assume that Popovich will do everything he can to stop that from happening tonight as they continue to do everything in their power to get one of the 3 worst records in the leagues, therefore one of the tied the top 3. I'll get the same ping pong ball. So look at one of those top spots in the lottery, most likely. Had the Cavaliers 8-point favorites here, even without Donovan Mitchell tonight. Not too worried about them. Should just be a great matchup. Really expect them to put away the Spurs tonight. So I played minus 5.5 and minus 6 earlier today. I'm looking at 7.5. If it bounces back down to 7, maybe a half play at 7. And if it gets to 6.5, go ahead and play that there. So Cavaliers, Pacers, and the Nets, Wizards under.
Wizards. And I'm all out of stuff. I have nothing else to bet on. The World Cup doesn't go until tomorrow. I've got some early looks. Boy, it's been hit or miss during the knockouts. I'm gonna need. It's gonna be like a 5-unit bet in the finals. Honestly, maybe like 5 1-unit bets. And I just have to sweep the board to end up positive. I don't know. I've enjoyed playing some props.
Maybe just do one bet on something at plus 500.
That's true too. For the final, I'll have some props and stuff too. It's just too much fun not to get into some anytime goal scorers or some goofy stuff like that. I'm very excited. And truthfully, like my official plays went like 1-3 in the quarterfinals, and I even tweeted this. I didn't give a shit. Like I hate losing money, but like those games were so good. It was hard to be mad when those games were so good. Like I'm awesome. Mad now that I'm thinking about it. And I guess I did do some live doubling down on the England French over. I can't believe there wasn't like 6 goals in that one, honestly, but we got the 2.5. That's what matters. Ended up on a positive note. Excited to get in some World Cup later this week, but we're going to close it out with the final. I know we've been saying this for a while. Final tennis tournament, because until we get down under when we're in Adelaide and Hobart and stuff like that, this is it. And if it wasn't Angers, I'm sure it's not Limoges.
Or Limoges.
I'm going to go Limoges.
I believe it's Limoges. I don't know. Whatever it is. It's French. It starts with an L, and you're right, Andy. I was looking at the schedule. Next week, the best tournament we have is some ITF 25. For those of you that watch baseball, that's single A baseball. I will not be betting single A tennis tournaments next week, but have a handful of looks for early tomorrow morning in France. Again, indoor hardcourt season continues here. Honestly, it makes sense. Just kind of a convenient spot. There's the most players there. And It's a good chance for some of these younger players to scoop up some points and put a nice finish on the year. At the same time, you'll see some veterans here trying to grind out maybe some points and make up for what might not have been the best year here. Start with Alizé Cornet playing Varvara Gracheva. Looking at the first set prices here, I'm not sure the market is adjusted properly for this being indoors, which is a little odd. This tournament's been around for a couple of years now. I'd expect those numbers to be a little bit tighter, but this over 9.5 games price here, there's a 9 at minus 120, minus 125. You can go ahead and play that. I'd rather play the over 9.5 at plus 125. Two women that play really long first sets. Cornet, a ton of 7-5s as you go back and look at kind of her score sheet. Same thing with Gracheva here now. Cornet is the much better player, and that's kind of why we're getting the plus 125. There's a chance that Cornet just comes out, puts Gracheva away here quickly, but I think we'll have a tough long first set and then, kind of that classic quick set there. So happy to take over 9.5 plus 125. And then Blinkova, Minin, first set, over 9.5. Sorry, that was minus 105, not minus 125. My mistake. Again, anything standard juice or better looks good there. Blinkova, again, you look at her tournament last week in Angers, a lot of 6-4s, a lot of 7-5s. Again, plays pretty long first sets, especially indoors where serving is good. Greet Minin, not the best year for her, but starting to play better. Had some nice tennis last week again in Angers. Really good inside, someone that serves very well and holds. So I expect this to kind of be honestly a boring set until we get to 4-4, 5-5, and things start happening. But that'll be good for us. Over 9.5, minus 110 or better. Again, sorry, I meant to be minus 105. There's a minus 105 out there. Anna Bogdan, Katrina Scott. Anna Bogdan unders have been great this year. Just something about the way she plays tennis really drives a lot of unders. A lot of 6-4, 6-1, 6-1, 6-3s, pretty quick sets, whether she wins or not. I do think she kind of beats up on Katrina Scott here. Should be the much better player. Didn't really love when it land the 5 games. Instead, happen to take under 20 here at plus 100. 6-4, 6-4, we push. 6-3, 6-2 is a win for us or better. Something in that. I'm sorry, 6-4, 6-3 is a win for us. Something kind of in that range. Again, expecting 2 very quick sets here, like Bogdan, but happy to just play the total here. So 2 first set overs and then 1 under. Should be all early tomorrow morning in France.
In France. All right. Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Basketball, kids basketball, ladies tennis, football, the big football match tonight. Excited about that. Pay attention. We'll tweet it out here in a bit once Drew and I and producer Dan figure out what time we're actually going to do our Week 14 NFL handicap review. And then just, happy birthday, Rob Pizzola. It's Pizza's birthday.
Okay.
A little news. Should we do news and notes at the end? Like birthdays? Like they do in the morning. Little Tommy turned 5 today. And here's a picture he drew and sent to the news station. We're not going to do that. But no, I just saw that just now while I was on the Twitter. So if you are in here in the YouTube, hit the thumbs up, and we'll catch you tomorrow. See you.